Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Molehill Mountain, a wonderful
Hello, everybody.
golf course. And a
Yeah.
golf course is a wonderful place for 30-foot alligators in Florida.
Yes. Did you see the somebody did a mashup of Jurassic Park and footage of the alligator?
I
Did you
didn't
see
watch
that?
it, but I did hear
Yeah.
about it.
It played out really well. I thought they did a great job cutting the footage together, and it was hilarious. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, look that up. Jurassic Park Florida alligator mashup.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's it. It's nice to see that animals like that are still around, because you have to figure an alligator of that size is probably older than the golf course and probably the surrounding community. It was probably
Possibly. Yeah.
kicking around that area of Florida before residential development even
It
started.
was kicking around before the Spanish even landed.
Yeah, there you go. So, I have not got a whole heck of a lot of video games played this week. Um, I have played a little bit more Yakuza 4. I did buy Yakuza Dead Souls, and that's on its way. Although Amazon said it should arrive next Wednesday. I said, great, because I'm not done with Yakuza 4 yet. And then it said, it's shipped. It should be there on Sunday. And I said, what? You don't deliver on Sunday. What are you talking about, Sunday?
Oh no, Amazon delivers on Sunday.
Does it?
So yeah, we've bought stuff and had it dropped off on Sunday. Like I don't remember who it is, but I believe FedEx or UPS, one of the two, ships delivers on Sunday. It's pretty good.
Well, I
So
guess I better stay up all night and play the game, finish the game. So getting that. Although Amazon actually did drop off a box of um, razors, and I bought like a humongous box of enough razors to last me for the rest of my life. Especially if I only
yeah,
shave like once a week, or because I don't shave very often, because the idea of dragging a sharp object across the flesh of my face and throat is not something that really appeals to me. So I often procrastinate. Also, I have very sensitive
I
skin.
grew a beard.
Yeah. I look terrible with facial hair, though, so that's why I eventually go, oh, okay. Sometimes it's I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, shave. Sometimes it just itches. But anyway, I buy special razors that don't give me severe damn razor burn, because
Mhm.
I get really bad razor burn because I have really sensitive skin. So, yeah. So you playing any games this week?
No. This week I was actually at Boy Scout camp with my son, so no video games there. But Matthew does remind me that we were talking a few weeks back how we had both lost our D20s, and you had found yours.
I had found mine. Yes.
Yeah, well, I found mine too, and so I'm excited. I'm like, that's awesome. I didn't know where it was. I just found it in one of our boxes in our garage. But no, this week I haven't played anything because, like I said, I was at summer camp, so no Wi-Fi or anything, and not a convenient way to charge my phone, so I didn't bother playing any games on my phone. But something I did start reading a book. I looked at all the books from that I had bought through Humble Bundle ebook sales, and I downloaded a bunch, and I started reading Bone Shaker. Yeah, it's just
Who's the
called
author?
Bone Shaker by Sherry Priest or Sherry Cherry. I don't. I'm not sure how to say that. Cherie. So Sherry Priest is probably correct, but probably wrong too. But the book is it takes place in a post-disaster Seattle, but back around the Yukon Gold Rush. The epilogue tells of the time where Russia and the U.S. were considering, considering a transaction for the U.S. to purchase Alaska, and Russia had decided to make one last attempt at making Alaska viable territory for itself, and so it put out a bounty of 100,000 rubles for somebody who could, or to the first person who could develop effective technology to break through the ice so that they could mine underneath the ice and the frozen tundra. And the story takes place after a Seattle inventor built a machine that basically destroyed half of Seattle at the time and caused massive earthquakes. And then some weird gas started leaking out that killed people and then reanimated them. So it's a kind of a Western zombie book. It's actually really good. I'm about a quarter to a third of the way through. It's about 400 something pages, and so far it's really good. The story is about a mother. She is actually the wife of the guy who invented the machine that destroyed the Seattle, and so she's just kind of trying to live her life with all of that stigma over her head. And her son decided he wanted to attempt to redeem his father by going into this sealed off portion of Seattle where all this gas is locked in and the zombies are locked in, and he's trying to make his way to his parents' old house in that part of town. And then he gets trapped in because of an earthquake, sealed off the only entrance that was there. And so he's trapped in there, and his mother's trying to get inside to find him. So that's as far as I've gotten, and that's probably a good place to stop without spoiling anything. But but yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying Cherie Priest's writing style and storytelling style. So I'm gonna have to check out a few of her other books that she's written too once I'm done with this one. But yeah, that's been about it for me. So
all right.
yeah.
Well, I just noticed that Google Hangouts is not automatically switching the camera. So I'm going to have to do that manually, it looks like.
That's weird.
So yeah, so if the camera hangs on one person too long, that's because I'm probably getting involved in the conversation forgetting to switch. So, all right, let us move to our first topic. So let's talk about the obvious, and that is E3 2016 is upon us!
Woohoo!
Yay! I actually, honestly, just realized, I think on Monday or Tuesday of this week, that E3 was actually next week. I was sitting there at work going, it's June. Wait a minute. E3 is next week, man. Son of a gun.
Yeah.
E3, I guess, technically starts tomorrow. I think EA is doing its thing tomorrow, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
And
I have no idea.
I don't remember if the PC show is doing its thing again this year, if or when. I don't know about you, Zachary, but I have so little enthusiasm for E3 this year. It may partially. I think to be honest, I think a lot of it has to do with Nintendo just being like, we're going to show Zelda and that's about it. Well, yeah, I guess we should show Pokemon, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions comes out next week, and
Wait, a game is coming out and they're not actually going to have it playable?
Yeah. Tokyo Mirage Sessions comes out in North America and Europe. I forget the Europe date. Might be the same, might not. But it comes out in America, I think, June 24th. Um, and it'll show off a couple 3DS games, Dragon Quest VII and Monster Hunter Generations.
Yeah.
And that's all it's announced so far. Now, I imagine it will. It's interesting if you go look at e3.nintendo.com. It's only scheduled for 2 Treehouse Live days, uh,
Yeah.
but it does say um, at the top of the page E3 2016, June 14 to 16, which could just mean that's how long the show is. We're not going to be there for the 16th,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I think they will. I think they will have more games and more announcements. Probably nothing huge. Probably nothing much more than that. I actually just shot a video of Nintendo E3 predictions, which will probably be posted tomorrow, the next day. So I'll keep some of that under my hat. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's going to be a light show. It's going to be Zelda focused, and um, that's cool, but Zelda doesn't come out till next March at the earliest. So, I mean, as neat
Yeah.
as it is to finally see the game, it's like, well, great, but I won't be able to play it for nearly a year. And it's not being demoed on the system. I'll probably end up buying it on the NX. So that
Yeah.
kind of takes a little of the wind out of the sails, I think. But, maybe there will be maybe we'll finally see Beyond Good and Evil 2. I
Maybe.
I doubt it. Maybe Last Guardian will actually come out this year. Uh, some people have actually played it now, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does actually launch this fall. Finally,
Do you think Nintendo is going to show Metroid Prime Federation Force, and that people will
that's
actually like it this
that,
year?
that's actually one of my predictions. Is that Nintendo will lean very heavily on Samus's appearance in the game in order to placate and win over the fans. Now, one of the producer of the game, whose name I forget, uh, Kensuke Tanabe or something like that, did mention to Kotaku after they badgered him for like half an hour, did finally say, yes, she's in there somewhere. I always took that to mean it was either always just a cameo or she's mentioned in some text log somewhere, or maybe it was just a on the spot. You know what? We bet. Yeah, oh, yeah, she's in there. Guys, put Samus in there. Um, but we'll
Maybe it'll
probably
be like when you find Link in Super Mario Brothers RPG. It's going to be like that, where she's asleep somewhere and a bubble's coming out of her nose.
yeah. I think that her role has been expanded beyond what it originally was, whether it was just a cameo or nothing. And I think Nintendo. I think we'll see. It's like Metroid Prime Federation Force, and yes, Samus is in there. Really, truly, she's in there. She accompanies you, and or maybe it'll be, and the entire point is to rescue Samus, who got captured.
There we go. That's
it had
awesome.
to happen eventually.
Yeah, she's a damsel in distress in this game. after many games of her being the awesome bounty hunter and fighter, she finally gets captured, and you have to rescue
it
her.
happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
That would be kind of funny if that was the way they crowbarred her into the game. It's like she's the damsel. You're like, oh, thanks.
Oh man, yeah.
But
feminist frequency would have a field day with that one.
It is kind of sad that. Well, I think that the issue would be really the only thing. It's like we have to have our female character in there somewhere. We have to have Samus in there somewhere. It's like, what do we do with her? Well, she's a girl. Make her the damsel. It's like, really, you couldn't think of anything else? Like she's the mission commander, or one of the people on the squad, or
just she's the trainer, in for the tutorial, where she's the one telling you how to play the game. See, that would be cool. I think that I would like that. If that was her only role, was as the tutorial guide, that I would be happy with that.
So she becomes the game's Navi, or
Yeah,
hey, listen,
she gets to command
use the
all the
morph ball.
yeah, she gets to tell all of the Federation Force guys when they can use their weapons.
Yes, yes. It's like, and you can't use the ice beam or your missiles until I authorize it. Yeah, it's not very fun, is it?
Yeah.
So,
But I'm looking at the schedule. So we've got EA tomorrow at see, it's 1 p.m. Pacific time, so it's going to be what is
for
that?
Eastern.
Yeah, 4 Eastern. So that's going to be 3 o'clock my time. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
going to be at church, and then
Oh, you go to church late.
yeah, there's 4 congregations that meet in our building, and we're at the last slot of the day. Um, and then Bethesda is at 7 p.m., so that's 9 o'clock. And since I just came back from camp yesterday, I don't think I'm going to be able to get away from my wife to watch that. So I'll probably be checking out EA and Bethesda on Monday while I'm at work. And then Microsoft will be 11:30 for me on Monday, and Ubisoft at 3. So I will probably be able to watch both of those at work. And then Sony, I usually don't ever get to watch Sony at home. So yeah, I'll be watching them on Tuesday.
Sony gonna be that evening.
Yeah, it's 6 p.m. Pacific time on Monday.
Hopefully
So,
they can keep it to under 3 hours. And
yeah.
I know they do. I think last year's was only like an hour and 50 minutes, but Sony's conference always feels so long to me. Maybe it's because there were,
EA feels long, but because
EA is
they
packed in the
spend
middle
like
because EA
45 minutes
Sports.
of sports, and which is one of the good things about watching the conference recorded on the following day is that I can skip all of EA Sports
Yeah.
because I just don't care one squat about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Nintendo's whatever it's doing. It apparently is not having a dedicated Nintendo Direct, but it will have some type of Reggie Fils-Aimé intro for the uh, Treehouse live stream, and
Yeah.
that will probably count as a some type of Nintendo Direct. It'll probably be a fun skit. I mean, 2 years ago they did the robot chicken thing. Last year they did the puppets thing, and those were all incredibly charming. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll do something as neat this year, even if they don't have as much to show. And I have to wonder if they're not showing a lot to kind of put on airs that, yeah, it's just all about Zelda, which doesn't come out for a year, and we rarely ever talk about things that aren't coming out in this year, rather than admitting that, yeah, okay, the Wii U is dead. There's just nothing coming out for the Wii U.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah, I would say that my big prediction is just, if they do talk about anything that they haven't already mentioned, it's all going to be 3DS stuff.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
but
But you come to a point where if you do a lot of 3DS stuff and you talk about the theme parks and the movie initiative and the mobile games, then then people really go, wow, you have nothing for Wii U, do you? But if you focus heavily on a Zelda Wii U, and you say, oh, and we have here's a couple 3DS games and a couple other things, but we're just focused. It helps support the narrative that we just really want to focus on Zelda. And
yeah,
golly, I hope Zelda is good and,
I hope so
and
too.
and
I
worth
hope.
devoting most of 2 days to.
Yeah, I really hope that this Zelda kind of redeems Nintendo from Skyward Sword, one of the least well received Zeldas out there.
Mm.
And so, if they got back to Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker gameplay, where it's just solid and fun, then yeah, I think it would do well. And with the the tech video that they shown, and all they've really shown was Link riding around on Epona, and then some monster jumping out of the water or whatever it was, and Link drawing back his bow. That's about all they've shown, isn't it?
Well, there was that in 2014, and then the following December at the Game Awards or whatever it was, Aonuma and someone else, Miyamoto, I think, showed at a very crooked angle on a TV. They were sitting next to a TV that was at an angle rather than showing any direct feed footage of Link running around and using the sailcloth and then getting on the horse and dodging trees and firing a bow and more or less showing off the sheer size of the world, which a lot of people have had concerns that, well, okay, it's going to be a big place. Is there going to be anything in it to do?
There's gonna be those like 2,000 of those golden skull spiders or whatever they were.
Oh, Skulltulas, sure.
Skulltulas. Yeah. There's going to be about 2,000 of those, and you have to play the game 3 times through in order to find them all. And that's going to be the entire game. There's not they're cutting back on boss battles and all of that stuff because people don't like that. What they really like is hunting down Skulltulas. So
yeah, or maybe it'll go full MMO. It'll have
there we go.
Cosmetic microtransactions, so you can give Link new hats and horse armor.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a couple days away. Okay, I'll give a Nintendo. I'll give a Nintendo prediction that actually isn't in my upcoming video. Pokemon Amiibo. There will
Do
be.
They not have any Pokemon Amiibo? I thought.
Well, they have Pikachu, but he's part of the.
And they have Jigglypuff. Yeah, they have
Jigglypuff and Charizard and Greninja and the Smash Brothers, the ones that are in Smash Brothers, but they don't actually have a Pokemon line. And I think we'll see a few for a few main Pokemon statues that will work with Sun and Moon, and then maybe some cards for a bunch of the others.
Okay.
And I will probably grouse about them because all they'll do is lock content behind an expensive toy in a game that you already paid full price for. That is really only half of a game because you have to spend full price on the other one to get the full experience. I really don't like that model. I've talked about this before, but I've always hated the Pokemon Red, Blue, White, Black, X, Y, Sun, Moon.
It was last week. Somebody on Gamma Sutra, I think it was one of the reader blogs, but this guy talked about how he bought everything that you could possibly buy for Smash Brothers Wii U. And I think he even included Smash Brothers 3DS. I can't remember, but all together it was like over $600 because that's all the amiibos that went along with it, all the downloadable content you could purchase, and everything. And all told, it came out to about $600 just for Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Matthew's correcting me a bit on the Pokemon 2 versions thing. It's not half the game in one, half the game in the other. It's, as Matthew says, it's about 99% of the game in both is the same. There's just a few Pokemon exclusive to each and a few characters and scenarios and stuff that are exclusive to each. It really depends on the game, which to me makes it even more egregious and despicable because now not only do I have to buy another full-priced game for the other half of the content, no, I have to pay another $40 for 3 Pokemon and the couple other side. Pokemon Sun and Moon should really be New Game Plus. One should be the New Game Plus to the other, or the second quest. To me, I hate that stuff.
Well,
but
and
whatever. I'm not a Pokemon fan anyway.
But going back, with Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Season, those were two different games. But playing one and linking it over to the other one got you extra stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were two totally different games,
Yeah.
and that was a great idea.
That was fine. That was
Yeah.
fine because they were two completely different games, and I think if you played them both, you unlocked a major boss fight or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. If you beat both of them, you got an extra super boss in them. But there was also other exclusive content.
Hmm.
You beat Ages first and brought it over to Seasons, or Seasons to
Yeah.
Ages.
Yeah. But Matthew also points out just trade as intended, and you can have the games that are exclusive to the other. It's like, sure, but I don't want to do that. One, I know zero other people with a 3DS, let alone anyone else who has Pokemon, who has the other version that I could trade with. Two, I don't wanna. I
Yeah,
don't want to. I don't want to seek someone out. I just want to find a Pokemon and throw a ball at its head. I don't want to trade for a Pokemon. I want to capture it in the wild. How boring is that? Oh, I'll trade you. Also, you still miss out on the other, scenarios and characters and stuff that are exclusive to each game. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal, and I don't play Pokemon anyway, and this is not the reason I don't play Pokemon. I don't play Pokemon because I just don't really care for the game. It's just not for me. Um, but I'll tell you
to be
what,
honest, I've never played it, so I can't tell you if I if I enjoy it or not.
Pokemon Snap is pretty badass, though. So, let's see. Anything else that's what am I looking forward to at E3?
I don't know. Sony said that they're not talking about the Neo or 4K or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah,
They're not
I
going
was
to talk
surprised about that. The E3 seems like, I mean, if it's coming this fall, this seems like the best time to talk about it. And if you're not going to talk about it, I'm surprised Sony confirmed it, because
Yeah,
it
'cause
confirmed
maybe they're
PS
just
Neo is a
yeah,
thing, just that it's not being shown at the event, and that's unexpected.
yeah. Perhaps that's an indication of their lack of confidence in it. I don't know, because they were talking it up on Gamma Sutra this week. It's like we are making it, and the games will be playable on both systems, and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, so perhaps they're worried about fragmenting their player base, and they don't want to freak anybody out at E3. So
Yeah. Let's see. I'm actually looking forward to Bethesda's show. They usually put on a nice, succinct show. I'm interested in seeing Horizon Zero Dawn, which they should probably change that name because it's stupid. Um,
yeah,
but it
Horizon
looked
is
really cool last year. You
yeah,
fight
definitely.
robotic dinosaurs with a bow and arrow. It looks pretty great.
And I think that would probably be one of the first Bethesda games I bought in a long time, because that
I
looks
don't
great.
think that one's Bethesda. I think that's someone
Oh,
else.
is that not?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought. Okay.
yeah,
Well, you were talking about
yeah,
Bethesda, and
yeah.
so
I'm just jumping around.
okay.
Let's see.
But yeah, that one, and what the one with the girl who finds the robots and puts the orbs inside
Oh,
their chests.
Recore.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they show actual gameplay footage of that, because the concept sounds interesting, but I
Yeah,
want to see the game
what
in
you can
action.
infer, what you may be able to infer from the cinematic that they showed last year could be cool. But I mean, it's kind of like the something of Anarchy, Masters of Mayhem, something came out, an E3 trailer earlier, like a couple days ago, and showed a pretty slick, cartoony CG cutscene of a super villain battling superheroes, and
Yeah,
I have no idea what kind of game it is. I mean, I could probably guess that it's something like Overwatch, but I don't
yeah,
know. I actually do know now because I read a preview, and it's kind of Overwatch, only more single player and a little bit open world and procedurally generated. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of neat. And unfortunately, you get absolutely no idea of how the game plays or what kind of game it is from these well produced, don't get me wrong, and Agents of Mayhem, thank you, well produced cutscenes and but it's like you're this isn't a movie, it's a video game. You can't sell it like a movie. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe you can. You can't sell it to me like a movie because I don't care. I mean, again, I enjoyed the Agents of Mayhem trailer because it was colorful and fast and had good character design and was fun and funny. Although one guy comes in and drops, "I'm here, motherfucker." I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm rated then. And
Yeah.
apparently it's like, okay, so all right, anything goes. But I'm like, okay. But again, I personally find it extraordinarily frustrating when they show off games and show literally zero gameplay. That bothers me. It's like, well, you're not no sale until you tell me what kind of game it is and how it plays. So
yeah. Oh, so let's see. I'm going over my game list from last year and seeing what hasn't come out so far. And yeah, we got Horizon Zero Dawn looked great. I'm wondering if Sony's going to have better footage of Last Guardian, because what they showed last year looked like a PS2 game, and I don't know if it was just the grainy footage or what. It just did not look interesting, or it didn't look good. But
it looked like they had just moved it onto a new engine and had not tweaked a lot of the interactions and animations because it was not very polished, but it was enough to at least give you an idea of how the game played. So I was okay with it. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think.
I'll be interested to see if there is anything exclusive to the Xbox One. And only the Xbox One, not Xbox One and Windows 10, just the Xbox One. Because even a lot of the titles that were announced last year to be exclusive to the Xbox One have now been announced to also be PC.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's almost like, well, why get an Xbox One if there's almost literally nothing on the You don't need I mean, unless you're like me and you prefer playing on console. That's a tough sell for some people, I think. Although Dead Rising 4, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm looking at my list and I I put an asterisk next to the ones that I was interested in, and a lot of these I'm looking at them and I don't remember what half of them are anymore. So, but Microsoft has Sea of Thieves from Rare.
Isn't that Rare?
Yeah, that was Rare, and that's one that I do remember. And
nothing for me.
I don't know. I'm a fan of pirate games. I like Sid Meier's Pirates, and I never played.
Fine, but the trailer did not.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what they do with that one, because it's still listing the initial release date as 2016. So if that one's still alive, they might actually show some footage this year.
Yeah, would be nice. And I understand the games are in development, and sometimes you don't have footage to show, or it's not in a state where you can actually show it being played. But
yeah,
still, I'm not saying if you don't show me gameplay, I'm against your game. I just can't look forward to it or anticipate it if I don't know what kind of game it is or how it plays. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk a lot about E3 next week, I'm sure. So look forward to that. All right, let us continue kicking the bucket list. So each week we look at stuff on the bucket list and see if we've done it yet. And first item is, have you ever seen the Grand Canyon in person?
No, I have not. I know a lot of people who have.
Yep.
But I lived in Arizona for nearly 3 years and never made it up that way. I lived down in Phoenix, or Tempe, not Phoenix, but Tempe, and just never. I was a college student, so I never had the money to go up there. So
Hmm.
yeah,
I have both been to and seen the. I've seen the Grand Canyon. Both. What I was actually trying to
you
say is
went
I've
there and then you looked at
and
it.
I looked at it. I didn't just I've been here, but I didn't look. No, I've been there both during the summer and the winter, so I've seen it. I've seen it dry and I've seen it covered in snow, which is pretty cool. Never
Yeah,
hiked the Grand Canyon. That's something I'd like to do sometime. I will tell you this though: these squirrels there are carnivorous, and
yeah,
they will come after you. Uh, when they say don't feed the squirrels, they mean because they're turning into vicious flesh-eating monsters. Please don't feed the squirrels.
yeah.
They are aggressive little buggers. So, next item on the bucket list: have you ever flown in a helicopter?
No, I have not. What about you?
Uh, nope. No, I have not. So there's a boring one. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Nope. My
Yeah.
parents go on one like twice a year.
Wow. Are they retired?
Yeah, yeah. My dad has he gets retirement benefits from the military and the post office. So he gets and yeah, so he gets quite a bit on top of what they had saved up. And so yeah, they go on cruises fairly often. So,
Hmm.
but I've never been.
I have never been on a cruise either. I'd like to one day. I hear they're really great. There's lots of food, and I like food.
Yeah,
Um, but my mom's been on a cruise, so that's who I've heard cruise about cruises from. So maybe someday. Have you ever
yeah.
served on a jury?
On a jury. No, I have been summoned to jury duty multiple times.
Hmm.
The first time I got summoned while I was still in high school, so I got out of that one pretty easy. And then the second time I got summoned, I was in England on a mission for my church, so I got out of that one. And then I'm trying to think. And then finally, I was summoned a couple of years ago, but I was, you know, had no excuse. So I went, but they didn't want me for the only jury that they actually filled. They had like 3 court cases lined up, and only the first one went to trial. The other one settled out of court and or whatever, pled or whatever. So they didn't need juries for those. So yeah, so I haven't actually sat on one. What about you?
Well, like you, I've had jury duty plenty of times, and I go downtown or out to El Cajon, where it is, and I sit in the room all day, and then I go home at the end of the day. I've never actually been on a jury. I've never been selected for a jury. I've never even been called out of the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's because I
Okay.
look mean. I don't know. At that point, it's all random. But yeah, I've never been on a jury. Don't really want
Yeah.
to because I don't know. I'd rather just go back to work and do my job. But
Yeah.
okay, so last bucket list thing for this week. Have you ever been in a movie?
Been in a movie?
Hmm.
No, I don't. I don't believe so. I probably would know if I were, if I had been, but so no. I
So
guess that's
unless
a
it was
no.
some stealth documentary.
Yeah.
um,
Unless I managed to walk past a live action or a live filming and not noticed,
yeah.
then no. What about
I
you?
have, yes. We're not counting any student films that
Yeah.
I did when I was a kid with my friends. Made a lot of home movies and stuff when I was young, but
Oh yeah.
no actual professional movies. Yes, I've been in one, which was called Buddy Bebop versus the Living Dead.
Yeah.
I think my scene was cut. Um, I don't think it ever released in North America, so I haven't seen the film. But what it was is uh, it's Elvis Presley on the phone with President Nixon saying weird. I barely remember it
Interesting.
anymore. Anyway, I was playing Elvis Presley, and I had to learn a couple chords on a guitar real quick, like I was playing guitar, and I ended up pretty much just holding the guitar and had a awful wig on and sunglasses because I really look nothing like Elvis. Don't sound like
Yeah.
anything like him either. My dad was playing Nixon, and he does a pretty damn good Nixon, actually. What
Yeah.
was funny is Dad also does a pretty good Elvis. So I was playing against my father while also being voiceovered by my father. So we kind of had to do a
All right.
reverse. We did a reverse ADR where instead of my dad replacing my dialogue, he
Uh-huh.
recorded the dialogue and then I spoke with it. Um, and it may have been better ADR later. I don't really know, but and
Yeah.
I don't think that scene even made the final movie. But um, the movie does sound schlocky and fun. It's about Buddy Holly versus the Living Dead. So and
Nice.
it's very low budget. But as it sounds. But so I've done
Yeah.
that before. And there was also another film that I think never actually got off the ground. I think it was a Will Ferrell produced starring movie that they were gonna do some type of a cappella competition type movie.
Yeah.
Maybe Pitch Perfect got in the way of that. But my chorus, Westminster chorus, were learned a Beastie. We arranged and learned a Beastie Boys song, which was in barbershop, which is kind of the joke.
Yeah.
Um, I forget which song. Oh no, Sabotage, which doesn't really have a melody, so makes it very difficult. But so
Yeah.
that was recorded once. I don't think that ever went in front of cameras. So
Yeah.
if it did, I wasn't there at the time. But Jordan says, since Andrew's image is based on a character in my book, he could eventually be a movie star, but I think Hollywood would want someone more experienced. No offense. Yeah. If Hollywood makes a movie out of your book, which has a character which is based on me, they're probably not going to hire me to play the character.
Yeah, they'll probably hire somebody like Danny DeVito or
There you go. Oh, speaking of that, here's another E3 prediction. The Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. Nice.
It's not gonna be voiced by Danny DeVito, but Detective Pikachu's coming west. So okay, so that's it for the bucket list.
All right.
Let us move on to a story that Zachary actually proposed last week, but for some reason did not end up in my inbox until Sunday night. I don't know what
I
happened
don't
with
know
that,
why.
but whatever. Elon Musk, what a lovely name, Musk. Had an interview with someone, and excuse me. Let me check, make sure the camera's right. Yes, okay. So
Yeah.
here's what Elon had to say in an interview, and this is pretty funny. So he says, if you assume any rate of improvement at all, then video games will become indistinguishable from reality. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is now, then you just say, okay, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing on the evolutionary scale. So, given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be billions of such computers or set top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions. And what he's talking about is the idea that we are all just a simulation, that life is pretty much just a game of civilization or The Sims or something that's running on someone's computer somewhere.
Yeah.
Because why not? I mean, in 10,000 years, we're going to be able to simulate a our civilization, or Sims games will be so advanced that they'll be indistinguishable from reality. So maybe that's already happened, and maybe we are the simulation. And
Hmm.
okay, um, my first thought is, well, I mean, that might explain the cruel and uncaringness of the world and why bad things happen. Because I mean, frankly, when you play roller coaster tycoons, you build coasters that are meant to kill people
Yeah.
because it's funny. So there's probably some jackass playing our game of life, and that's why horrible things happen. Oh, look, I caused World War III. Whoopsie. Um,
Yeah.
but
That's a
I
big
think
whoopsie.
if life as we know it and understand it is merely a complex computer simulation, that is one of the biggest wastes of time and energy ever. Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff that's going on that why would I mean, it's like it's modeling everything out in the universe, and that seems just to be a complete waste of time, unless whoever
Uh-huh.
is playing with the civilization. I mean, when you play Civilization, even if we can get it modeled to the nth degree, would you really model the bacteria that's crawling through the individual characters that's running through? Would you bother modeling the stuff on the ocean floor that we can't get to? Maybe it's not there for
Maybe
us.
that's
Maybe
why maybe that's why we can't get to it, because it hasn't been modeled yet, and and the programmers don't want us actually going down there, so they haven't given us the technology to explore
Mhm.
the ocean depths.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe it just seems like, okay, well, if the Earth is only a small part of the simulation, and who's to say it's a game? It could just be a simulation for the sake of simulating stuff. Um, it's an interesting idea. It's one of those, whoa, man, boom, but it's also one of those. It doesn't matter if we are a simulation on someone's computer or someone's
yeah,
dream, because it's our reality. So it doesn't really matter. I
yeah.
mean,
But
go ahead.
I just saying that it is an interesting line of thought, because
Sure.
it's one of those things that cannot be proven
Mm-hmm.
and cannot be disproven, and I just but his reasoning is to me is flawed. It's because this is theoretically possible 10,000 years in the future, that's evidence that it's happening right now. To me, that just doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know if
But
he's saying if it's evidence that it is happening, more along the lines, it's just evidence that it could be. It's a possibility.
yeah, I
I
guess so.
didn't. I didn't listen to the entire interview. I just read the excerpt at Gamasutra, though, so I'm
Yeah,
not
me
sure.
too. But
But
yeah, that's what caught the headlines, or all the all the other stuff.
whatever, Musk, keep building cars and go to Mars or something.
Yeah,
So, all right, that was a fun one. So,
yeah.
moving on. Earlier this week, I think on Monday, Nintendo decided to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of its eShop, its little digital marketplace where you can buy all kinds of. And Matthew points out the simulation hypothesis, which you can look that up on Wikipedia when you have time. Anyway, Nintendo on Monday said, hey, 5-year anniversary of the eShop, the digital marketplace where you can buy all kinds of stuff over and over again, even though you've bought Super Mario about 6 times and Legend of Zelda Link to the Past about 7 times, and you're going to pay us full price for it every single time, rather than us saying that, hey, look in your account. You own it, so you own it.
Yeah.
Tangent. Anyway, so it's discounting about 100 games on the eShop by up to 50% to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the eShop in Japan.
Yep.
which is fine. But once again, to me, this strikes me as Nintendo is just completely unaware of how the internet works. It's like, do you not realize that when you announce this, even if it's intended only for Japan, every other Nintendo fan on the face of planet Earth instantly knows about this and goes, what about us? We have the eShop too. It's our 5-year anniversary too. Do we get a sale? And maybe there's a logistical reason for not doing the sale simultaneously worldwide. But
Hmm.
I would think at the very least you would want to announce it worldwide. Say, hey, world, eShop anniversary. Everyone gets a sale. Europe starts on Tuesday. North America starts on Friday. Japan starts today. Okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people be like, well, why not just do it all at the same time? But whatever. The eShops are kept separate, and I broke the clip on my cord again. Oh well. Um, uh, the following day, Nintendo of Europe announced its own eShop sale.
Hmm.
Less games, significantly less games, a little less than half the games. I think about 45 games going on sale, up to 50% off. And but their sale lasts about twice as long. It's 2 weeks. North America, nothing. Although, if you go to Nintendo's E3 page, you will see that there is now a Nintendo eShop sale that will start on June 14th. It coincides with the beginning of
Yeah.
E3. It doesn't say what games are on sale. It doesn't say, there are no specifics other than it starts on June 14th. And it's not branded as an eShop anniversary. But I'm guessing it's ostensibly what this is. It's just branded
Yeah.
more of an E3 celebration type of thing. But what do you think, Zachary? Do you think this is that announcing a promotion for one territory is probably not the best move this day and age where we're all connected and we can see the Japanese press releases?
Yeah, I think it is a little naive that they didn't take into account that everybody in the world is going to see this. I think if it was a sale for games that aren't released in other territories, that would be different. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but since it's just a general anniversary sale, not not launching an anniversary sale worldwide was a bad move, and they just completely fell on their face when they announced it, because that's just there's just no reason to think that you can keep Japan stuff completely within Japan, especially online, and that's something that Nintendo has not learned yet, which is unfortunate because we have been trying to explain this whole internet thing to them for about 10 years now, maybe more, since the back at the Wii, when they didn't have very good online capabilities for the Wii. It's just something they have yet to learn.
Yeah, it's weird. You almost get the sense that Nintendo's caught by surprise every time. Eh, American
Hmm.
person goes, Nintendo? What do we get an eShop anniversary celebration sale promotion thing? And Nintendo goes, how do you even know about that? Or like, have you not heard of the internet? I mean,
Yeah,
of course we know about that. You announced it. There's a press release. It's on the internet. We know. So yeah, I personally I think if you're going to do again, like you said, if it's a promotion for a game that's only available in Japan, well, yeah. Although technically it should be region free and we should be able to buy it if we want. But
yeah, definitely.
it is true that the individual territories' eShops are different. They have different libraries. So the sale, which is not 50% off everything, it's a
Yeah,
certain percentage off of these select games. And these select games are going to be different territory by territory. But you would think that Nintendo would say, okay, eShop anniversary. Japan starts Monday. Europe starts Tuesday. America starts on the 14th to coincide with E3. I think most people would be like, all right, cool. I look forward to a sale. But if you announce them one by one when they happen, I don't see any benefit to doing it that way. The only thing you do is breed uncertainty and aggravation in your consumer
Yeah,
base, and
definitely.
that doesn't strike me as a great business move.
Yeah, I agree, and and they need to fix that.
Yeah. All right. So, last topic, and another one we were going to talk about last week, is a Texas court has ruled that game mechanics are not copyrightable. So, this was a story you proposed. So, what's going on, Zachary?
All right, within this story, we've got two companies. This is actually tabletop games, tabletop card games, and one of the games is one that I really like playing. My brother has a copy, and almost every time we get together, we play this game. It's called Bang, and it is a cowboy themed card game where uh, you there's a sheriff, a bunch of outlaws, a renegade, some deputies, and the goal is, depending on what role you are, you have a different goal. So if your goal is the sheriff, it is to kill all the outlaws and the renegade. If you're the deputy, your goal is to help the sheriff. If you're the outlaws, you have to kill the sheriff, and if you're the renegade, you have to be the last man standing. And you get a role, you get a character card, which determines a special ability, how much life you have, and then you get a bunch of playable cards that you can either use as in Magic the Gathering terminology. You've got artifacts, instants, and I don't think there's a terminology, but and then cards that you have to wait a turn before you can use them as an instant, and you just use them to get more powerful and kill everybody. And so the company that makes this one, they sued another company that basically took Bang and reskinned it with what was theirs? I'm forgetting now. I'm looking at it, trying to figure out which one it is. Oh golly, what was their theme? Now I forget. The judgment is. Yeah, but I forget what it is, and which kind of stinks actually.
Well, one's the Wild West, and
Yeah,
Legend
West.
of the Three Kingdoms is, well,
Oh
Kingdom
yeah,
History. So,
yeah, that yeah, Asian theme, like I guess ninjas and other stuff.
hmm.
But yeah, they apparently they just took Bang and they just reskinned the entire thing, and the gameplay progression and card functionality is all the same. And so they sued in Texas, and they are the developers or the creators of Bang sued this other company in Texas, and the Texas court has ruled that game mechanics cannot be copyrightable, and which means it doesn't mean that you can't get a copyright on your game. It just means that the copyright you have on your game is for the game as a whole.
Right,
That's
not
why.
specific mechanics like kicking somebody,
Yeah, exactly.
because
Not.
otherwise fighting games would have a lot of difficulty if someone had kicking someone copyrighted.
Yeah, exactly. And this is based on a lot of different rulings. There's been other games, other rulings that have been made that kind of go along with this. Some of them seem to be a little interesting. Like Their last year, the year before, we had Spry Fox. Their game Triple Town was cloned by another company and turned into Yeti Town. But that one was a little more complicated because Spry Fox was trying to work with this other company to be their publisher and had sent them early copies of the game for review. And then this other company turned him down, and then half a year later or whatever, they released their own clone of it. And they managed, Spry Fox managed to win that case. But actually, I'm trying to remember if that one even went to court or not. But yeah, another case that kind of goes along with this is a few years back, some kid in New Jersey, I believe, released a game called Tetramino, which was basically Tetris, and he pretty much just copied Tetris line for line, image for image, and he lost his case because he basically just didn't alter a thing. Mm-hmm. So if you were to look at an official Tetris title and this kid's Tetramino title without any name or developer identification on there, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And so that's why that kid lost. And so here you got this court saying that the copyright you get is for the game as a whole, the mechanics plus the images and text and all of that stuff combined. And to me, that's a good thing. I think this is a good ruling because if they had ruled the other way, and if this is how things had been happening for the entirety of video games, we would not have the same variety of games that we have today, because certain genres would be locked up under certain developers. You would have id holding the copyright on a first-person shooter. You would have, I don't know, Square Enix with the copyright on the JRPG, or things like that, and that would be totally bad, and not at all conducive for a healthy game development landscape.
That said, it does completely suck when larger companies can just clone a smaller company's game and push them right out of the damn market because they have a bigger presence.
Yeah, and to be honest, this isn't a case of that. This is an independent card company or tabletop gaming company suing another independent gaming company. And to be honest, I've only ever heard of Bang. I didn't hear of this other game until the lawsuit was announced. So so I don't think they had anything lost, and Bang has been around for years. But again, that does, this goes to something like Ridiculous Fishing, and how that game was cloned and released on iTunes before Vlambeer was able to release an official copy themselves. And that happens a lot on the mobile side, where mobile developers will find games on other platforms and basically clone them and release them on platforms that they haven't been released on yet. And that sucks, but it's part of gaming. I don't think there's a way around it, and I don't think there should be a way to block it. I think that if you can develop the fan base, it doesn't matter if anybody clones your game, because you have a fan base to do it. But like you said, there are going to be cases where somebody much larger with a much larger marketing budget, where they can throw their ads in everything and hire Kate Upton and whoever else, whatever other celebrity they can to schlock their game. There's no way you can beat that, and that sucks. So I would say the only thing to do there is just make something else, make it unique, something that is a little more difficult to clone. I don't know.
Yeah, but true. But for independent developers, like if I made a game, it would by necessity, because I'm just one person in a room, it would by necessity have to be something fairly simple. So it'd be a game that was
Yeah.
just a mechanic that was really fun, and no one knows
Yeah.
who I am, so I might reach a couple people. But if King sees it and goes, "Well, hell, we could knock that out in a week," and they do.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, did you see this awesome new game from King?" And I'm sitting here going, "Well, that's my game, dudes. Eh."
Yeah.
That
Well,
sucks. And I
and
wish there
and
was something
there
we could do to
is
protect against that without ruining other things.
yeah. And there are cases like that. Another case, 2048,
And
is
threes, yeah.
yeah. That one is basically a ripoff of Threes, or not a ripoff, but a clone of Threes.
Mhm.
And and but in that case, the reason 2048 was able to gain that the wild popularity was because 2048 was free to play, while Threes actually cost to get. You had to pay to get Threes, and for the mobile scene, that limits your audience considerably. If
Mm.
you put a price up front, you are limiting your office to or your audience to a very small fraction of the mobile game playing audience.
Well,
And so,
true, but
and
you
yeah,
you also have to make money.
well, and 2048 apparently made a lot of money because they got the installs, they got the ad impressions, and all of that, and they were able to make money. And it sucks that the Threes developers didn't make as much money as they wanted, but their game is still good. They still made money. There was a lot of people out there who knew that their game came first and went with that. So they just didn't make as much money as they probably could if it was if they were alone in that.
Mhm.
They didn't have the clones to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's tough, and there are some unfortunate things that happen. So, all right,
yeah.
that is our show for this week. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us, and I hope you all have an awesome E3 week. And we will talk excitedly about E3 next week, probably for several hours. So, Jordan says there's a new trailer to Sausage Party. Awesome. I'm Sausage Party is about food. It's Toy Story only with food. So instead of, oh my gosh, the toys that I play with are sentient beings that get up and run around when I'm not watching. This movie is about foodstuffs that are actually sentient beings. The stuff you eat is and destroy with your big chompers. They're actually sentient beings that you are murdering in horrible, horrible way. Um, so yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about that movie. So hopefully it's a Red Band trailer because it's a very R-rated movie. Uh, I'll check that out, Dan. Thanks. Anyway, okay, plugging our stuff and getting out of here. Andrew Eisen, Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube, and you'll find my all my silly YouTube videos. Keep an eye on my channel tomorrow or Monday. I'll have my Nintendo E3 predictions, such as they are, posted. And at Andrew Eisen is the Twitters, and the Facebook is Andrew Eisen YouTube. So have fun with all of that, and Zachary, plug away.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night, and if you're interested in game development stuff, check out DK_gaming on Twitter, and that's for DivineKnightGaming.com. If you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene or anything other stuff that's creative in Oklahoma, check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and OKGameDev.com. And I am running for Congress in Oklahoma, so if you know anybody there, send them my way. Just search me. Well, the website is election2016.easynight.net, and I use my same Twitter account for that. So there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, that is it for Molehill Mountain for this week. We're actually on iTunes now under Molehill Mountain, so you can find the Molehill
Yes.
Mountain podcast on iTunes and subscribe and rate it and leave us feedback or do whatever you like. Yeah, I checked it earlier today. It's actually up and titled correctly now. Somehow iTunes pulled a title. It, it was past episodes hyphen Molehill Mountain podcast hyphen KNGI network, which is the network that hosts our podcast. And I don't know
Yeah.
where it got that from because I never typed that in the title. It's not even part of the feed URL. So, but that it's thanks to Kyle at KNGI, I got that ironed out in the title. Uh, just changed the Molehill Mountain podcast. So, that is it. Enjoy E3, and we will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk at you about it next week. Take care, everyone.
All right.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.